I was giving a presentation, and I had a gentleman after I gave a presentation come up to me, and he said, "You haven't met me, but I'm an AFP member. And I escaped Soviet Union when I was 19 years old. And one of the things that you have not discussed in your meeting is that when I lived in the Soviet Union under communism, I had freedom, but I had no liberty. And people need to recognize while your eye is on freedom, your liberties can be removed from you without you even knowing." And it made me think, what is the difference? Why is it important? And I started to look at a simple definition. Is freedom, liberty is the freedom from arbitrary or despotic and coercive government and control. Government tyranny. Folks, we are facing just that today. They are undermining why we're looking at our freedoms. They are undermining our liberties, and you have heard stories all day today about that. We can easily think of examples of what has happened recently. Obamacare. You have the freedom to buy insurance from any insurance company you want, but you do not have the liberty to choose not to buy insurance. You have public lands, and you have the freedom to say that we all own and cherish and get to view these lands, but you do not have the right to go and access those lands and to drive on those millions of roads of which they are closing today. You have the right to own property, but you in Oregon no longer have the right to use that property as you see fit to help you move up in society and to do as you always should have been able to do and as our forefathers saw us do. These examples of government tyranny have led to the downfall of our country, and we are seeing it plummet today. There are economic studies, in fact, one that's very important, called the World Economic Freedom Index. They take 141 countries and they compare them with 42 data points across the board. In 2000, the United States, unfortunately, was number 3. In 2011, we are now 10th. Now, that's not the truly devastating issue. The truly devastating issue is the data used to calculate that freedom index is only as current as 2008 because it takes a while to compile that data. I think we can all think about what has happened in this country since 2008. In fact, we asked those economists that calculate that data where they project they will see us once we see the recession economics hit us. And they actually said the United States is very likely to fall between 15th and 20th among the countries in this world. Now, we are the country that taught the rest of the world what free economics is. And now we are looking and facing it sliding to 15th. That is appalling. And we must change the direction of where this country is going, or we will plummet even further. Some of the things that come into that study that are really important to know: how did we fall just from 3rd to 10th, and that we are going to continue to fall? Size of government is critical in this calculation, and in fact, in 2000 we were 34th, but now we are 54th because our size of government eats up so much of our per capita income. The public sector since 2000, generally the public and private sector grow equally, or the public sector just slightly below private sector. But since 2000, our public sector has grown 4 times faster than our private sector. Folks, that is no longer a capitalistic society if we continue on that trajectory. We will be forced to be a socialistic society if we continue on that trajectory. This is another really interesting thing because my expertise is natural resources, and I felt like we were regulated forever, and regulation is a key component of the economic freedom factor. In 2000, the United States, in fact, was number 2 out of 141 countries. Now, we still had ESA, we had the Clean Water Act, we had a litany of different regulations. But today, we are 20th in our impacts of regulations. Today, it costs us $1.7 trillion a year for businesses to comply with the regulations that are on our books. Folks, we don't need a stimulus package of tax dollars. We need government to get off the necks of our businesses so they can actually create the economy that we want. Since President Obama has taken office, he has added more than 200,000 pages of regulations to the country. 200,000 pages. Now, one of the issues that's really predominant is the rule of law. That is another really important factor in the economic data. In 2000, we were 9th. Today, we are 26th. Now, you ask me what rule of law is. Rule of law is a fair and just justice system. Rule of law is private property protection. Rule of law is that you can uphold a contract for businesses to do. And we have slid from 9th to 26th. One of the things that I think is really important in private property rights, it's amazing to me when on a scale from 1 to 10, we used to be a 9.1. We are now a 6.2 on private property law. A 6.2. One of the things that we all know is that private property was an essential piece of our forefathers in the founding of this country. They knew what private property meant to this country and to people. It was a way for us to move from the lower class system to the upper class system. It was a way to create an entrepreneurial society. In fact, there's a famous economist named Hernando de Soto from Peru, and he looked at all the capitalistic societies out there because he couldn't figure out why the United States was so much more successful than all the other capitalistic systems. Do you know what he found was the one critical factor? It was the single most important factor was the fact that you could fund a new business based on a home mortgage. You could actually pull credit, that it was so critical to own your own home and that you could actually leverage your home to take your great idea and make it a business and to be an entrepreneur and to know that you, without the help of government, could help yourself succeed. Now, our government is out of control and we are billions of dollars in debt. I won't go back into what some of the other speakers have said. But I want you to know that this is not a partisan issue. We have data to show what it truly is that power corrupts. Because what we find is when the president and Congress are of the same party, whether it's Democrat or Republican, they will increase government spending by 4.4%. But if government is divided, where the president and Congress are of two opposite parties, they only spend 2.5%. This is not a partisan issue. This is a reality that we must hold our elected officials' feet to the fire. Just because they have an R or a D behind their name does not mean they will do the right thing. Power corrupts. Abraham Lincoln once had a great saying to his opponent. He was a great debater on the Senate floor. And he once said about his opponent, Douglas never let the logic of principle displace the logic of success. Folks, that is what our government is doing now. And we need to replace all politicians that do not believe in the fact that success should never displace principle. So we can take the same data, and I'm going to try to make it short because I know you guys are running down. And we can look at Oregon and where Oregon stands. And recently, I've been talking about this for a long time, and a new study came out. So in 2011, unfortunately, out of the 50 states, Oregon ranked 43rd in the economic outlook. 43rd. But as of Thursday, the new report came out. We now rank 45th. What is happening? We are going backwards. We were the only state besides New York that chose to raise taxes in the time of recession. We have the 48th highest both corporate and income tax in the country. We are 50th in right to work. We are 50th in inheritance tax. And we are 48th in minimum wage. Folks, we got a big battle, but we know we can win it. There are solutions. If we pass a right to work law, we can bring 110,000 jobs to this state in 10 years. If we repeal the death tax, of which we are collecting signatures for now, we can immediately bring 44,500 jobs to this state. And oh, by the way, we're only one of 3 west of the Mississippi that still have that. My claim to fame is not only are death and taxes the thing you can count on in Oregon you can count on paying taxes after you die. So I want to change that taxes don't follow you to the grave as well. Here is where it's important and where I know you guys can make a difference. AFP has helped local initiatives. We've ran 48 local initiatives over the last 3 years. We have won 43 of them. You have our next 2. You guys can make a difference. You can begin to erode away this tyranny of Oregon government by helping support Jerry and all these wonderful folks that are supporting the Jackson County Initiatives 15110 and 15111. They are critical. You are our first step in beginning to chip away at the chink of the armor of state land use law. We have to start to overturn this if we want to allow us to be able to move forward with creating a strong and sound economy. You have the opportunity to allow your government, or to tell your government, that they need to think about what the citizens of Jackson County need first, before they pass any land use laws. You have another opportunity to tell government when you make a promise, you stick to your promise and you pay or allow the folks that got Initiative 37 waivers signed, that they need to stick to that. That was a promise and they should be upheld. There are a lot of things you can do and you have the opportunity to do them, but I want to leave you with this because this is the one thing I agree you've heard a lot of people talk about. That people say we feel bad because they always tell us we're the old ogres and we're the ones that are not compassionate. So I want to read you this. This is from Charles Sykes from A Nation of Moochers. And I couldn't say it any better, so I really felt like I needed to read it to you as my conclusion. A compassionate society makes sure that people do not starve. It does not buy free lunch for everyone. A compassionate society makes provisions that the homeless and otherwise destitute are not exposed to the elements. It does not provide no down payments, no income loans, so that people can buy unaffordable houses at inflated prices. A compassionate society provides opportunities. It does not treat free cell phone or wireless internet as an entitlement. It does not punish work or make it easier to be a dependent than it is to get a job and improve yourself. A compassionate society provides the opportunity and the freedom to travel. It does not compel you to buy your neighbor a new car. A compassionate society provides a temporary safety net for the unlucky. It does not provide a soft mattress for a lifetime of dependency. A compassionate society may cushion the worst effects of the business cycle. It does not provide billion-dollar bailouts to businesses who recklessly bets go south. A compassionate society takes care of those in need. It does not assume that we are all incapable of making it on our own. Folks, thank you all for being here. Get out, do something. It's a year we have to make change. I appreciate it. Thank you.